I still have my throbbing love for God. So, I want to go over what happened from how it started to how it finished to the big life lesson, the moral of the story, the moral of the experience, with Skittles attempting to pander to furries via a contest to make a fursona instead of commission an artist to make a fursona, because that's how online clout works. Let's talk about the Skittles Fursona and how that happened, which let me bring up the receipts on how that whole thing started. Where the fuck is the Twitter account? Where are my links? I don't have anything organized. I do apologize. See, this is what happens when I try to give some sort of talk about stuff that happens. I'm just unorganized. And I usually ask you guys. But this time I have everything that happened in order, and I'm gonna be explaining it in order. So you know what? This is weird. This shit's weird. But anyways, let's see where it started. Okay. Oh, that's where it started. Huh. I mean, that makes sense. But why did Skittles reply? I don't know. They look at anything that gets enough likes and they're like, yes, we will interact with this because that is our job. We're the intern. We need to interact and sell the brand of Skittles. Okay. So, how did the whole thing with Skittles Fursona start, and where did it go? Well, it started when I guess this tweet happened. 2 weeks ago, Blue was just like, Skittles is a furry, and posted something happening here and replies with Skittles. Then eventually Skittles replies saying like, Skittles Fursona art contest? Silence, brand. That's actually pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. But this shit's just funny how within seconds it's like, silence, brand. Actually within 2 hours. That's actually pretty funny. That's great. So, yeah, something happened where Blue Wolf was trying to talk about Skittles being a furry, and then Skittles responded like, oh, does this mean we should have a Fursona art contest? And here's the thing. If you remember how this shit has gone with so many other brand accounts, you know that instead of commissioning an artist, which there are clearly many, they just have to be like, furries, who can I commission for a Fursona? They always go to the art contest. They always go to the cheapest and most free way of getting literally anything, even though it's a fucking brand. So here's the thing. Before you start piling on me being like, oh, they just made a mistake. You know, they're just trying to do the marketing and trying to get ideas for a Fursona. Look, I want you to keep in mind the purpose of a Skittles Twitter account, okay? When a brand makes an account on social media and they have someone that they hire, probably an intern, probably someone that wants to work for the company, a social media marketer. That is the position that you hold when you have the social medias for other accounts. You are a social media manager and a social media marketer. Your job with running any account for this brand, for Skittles, for example, the job that you have when you run these accounts is to be as relatable and selling as possible with regards to the brand that you uphold, which is Skittles. Does it mean that you have some sort of personality or interact with people interacting with the Skittles account? Yes, because you are trying to get people to talk about Skittles and to in turn purchase Skittles. So when you run these accounts, that is your only job, and you do whatever within a certain guidelines to get people interested or talking or buying Skittles. So when you have this situation, when you are the intern and you look at Blue Wolf's tweet, your first impression is like, ooh, this is a gold mine to market to an entirely different community that we haven't even touched in a while, that we haven't touched at all. Marketing guy is a furry, not the brand. No, that's not it. They have a job to do. They're doing a job based on what they are told to do in this case. Running a social media account isn't it's not the hardest thing in the world. But Skittles isn't the first company to do this sort of thing and be like, furry Fursona art contest for Skittles, the brand. There have been plenty of other companies that have done this. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but they do exist and they have happened. So this is sort of the first thing that happened. Like they said, Skittles Fursona art contest. Now, I feel like at this point, you know, when you are marketing to furries, you have to know sort of the baseline of how the fandom works to an extent of just how to market to it. And I think they got the bare bones of it, of just trying to incite people to become interested in creating a Fursona or turning a brand into a furry or a mascot or something. And so that's what they went with. They're like, oh, Skittles art contest for free? That sounds good to me. Oh, you want me to pay money? Nah. We'll just use the 500,000 followers we have to potentially make that happen instead of pay artists or pay a furry artist to make it happen. You know, God forbid they could do that and just turn it into an NFT. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Skittles supports NFTs at this point. Most brands do. But I'm rambling. Skittles pull the thing that we've seen multiple times over, where they try to incite an art contest as a means of spreading the good word of their throbbing love for Skittles. And furries didn't reply too kindly to it. Yeah, there are a lot of cool retweets here. I don't know if I want to go over them, but the point is, furries looked at this and were like, you know, our community is entirely about like creativity, and also there are a shit ton of people that do this full time. The least you could fucking do is throw an artist some money to make it happen. Like, you've already got the idea of the name, and somewhere in this reply they have the idea of what fursona they want to go for. We're jumping ship on me telling the story. We're gonna have an article tell the story because it does better. This whole article talks about the whole Skittles debacle on Twitter because they wanted a fursona. Also, 10 out of 10 thumbnail. Totally might steal this for a video. Just saying. I don't know. And yes, this does go on to Boozy Badger. Okay, Boozy Badger does have a major role in this, but we're gonna go over this step by step. Something company might want to get in good with the furry fandom, blah blah blah. Lil Nas X fursuit, Lindsay Lohan, not a furry, it's an NFT. That fursona sucks, quote unquote fursona. It seems that no one expected a candy giant like Skittles to start asking for their fursona on Twitter. After a brief conversation with several furries on social media platform, blah 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 blah, chaos really began. Skittles asked if they should run an art contest for their fursona. At first, most users were simply surprised that Skittles wanted to interact with such a niche community at all. Yes, because again, Skittles, Twitter user, social media manager. Therefore, their job, as entailed, manage social media, get people talking about it, get people making fursonas and art pieces that relate to Skittles, the brand. Never would have thought Skittles would be talking to the furry community. I mean, anything to get sales at this point, right? They're willing to invest in NFTs, okay? Oh, here it is. Some people even drew up the art of the fox bunny hybrid named Cheryl that Skittles seemed to request. Okay, so Skittles has the idea of the fursona that they want. They have the idea in mind. Why not commission someone for it? Instead, no, they full send with the most free and most inexpensive, most results as possible result of it by doing an art contest, which nothing against the artist that drew Skittles fursona for them. They're just doing what they want at this point. Let people do what they want. So yeah, people followed up and made art pieces, you know, made a Skittles fursona. There's this one, which is pretty, you know, relatable to the gamer community. I honestly imagine someone having this fursona being a Dream fan. I don't know why. And then going through, these look pretty good, you know? However, things took a more serious shift as the furry community got involved and started sling insults at the major corporation. Insults isn't really the term to use here when they're, you know, when there's some tea about the companies and, you know, forced child labor that Skittles and brands like Skittles support. So it's not really tea. It's not tea. It's truthful. So even though this doesn't really have any part with the whole issue that there is with the corporatization of the furry fandom in this sense, but there is tea about Skittles, you know, being not the best company in the world that supports people. So, you know, all this with LGBTQIA plus support during Pride Month, just for the sake of sales, you know, so on and so forth. And this does feed into the whole argument that I'm going to make later. Eventually, one of my favorite individuals in the whole goddamn world, Boozy Badger, on a whim, just decided to hold a contest. Instead of a fursona art contest for Skittles, he wanted to hold a contest where a person who draws the most outrageous NSFW image of a bag of Skittles wearing fox ears, just getting completely railed by a strangely muscular horseman, gets $5. $5 to the person who does this. And you know what? Ooh, this shit got me excited. I'm not going to go through any of the results on this because the thread and whatever is going on here is, it's a lot, okay? But it's funny as fuck. But I think this whole statement made right here is kind of just like very obvious, but they're very shocked with what's going on, even though it's obvious what furries are doing. One well-known lawyer within the fandom started a risque art contest. While likely not serious, could very likely end up existing due to Rule 34. If the furry fandom keeps weird and pulled stunts like this, it would make it harder for major corporations to use it for marketing. No shit, Sherlock! Really? I think this is just the most ironic statement I think I've ever heard with regards to this whole situation. It's like, really? I think that's kind of the fucking point of this whole contest being made to begin with. Because here's the thing. As much as, like, I might bash furries, I might rag on furries for being all sorts of fucking weird and just interacting in the weirdest way possible, and like flirting when you shouldn't, and not really being able to read the room, furries also understand when they're being marketed to by big corporations. And I know the whole thing with Mr. Wolf, that's an entirely different argument. I'm not getting into that today. Furries understand when corporations like this are trying to take advantage of it. Going back to the point of the purpose of the Skittles Twitter account. Realistically, I hate to break it to you guys, Skittles does not care about furries. They do not care. They don't care at all about artists that draw art and take commissions. They don't care about fursuit makers. They don't care about you. What they care about in this sense, the entirety of those interactions that they had through replying to the tweet and trying to simply start a Fursona art contest, was to market. They want to hop onto the furry fandom as a means of a marketing standpoint. And once they get what they want, they're leaving. They are leaving. And that's exactly what the purpose of a social media marketer is. Not to necessarily take advantage of or just, you know, come and go, but they want to sell products. They want to make money. That is it. They don't care about you as the person. They don't care who they're selling to. They don't care where their money is going. They just want as much money as fucking possible. And that is the job, unfortunately, of whoever is in charge of the Skittles account on Twitter. And you can tell this through even the shit that was brought up about Skittles in supporting child labor, hopping on Pride Month as a means of marketing, when realistically they don't care for the other 11 months of the year. You can see it in the small actions that eventually add up. And even in this, it's very evident. Because the art contest did happen. Not for the Skittles Fursona, but for a very muscular, very beefy horseman Fursona. Absolutely railing a bag of Skittles with fox ears. The contest did happen. It had plenty of entries. And whoever had the most likes and retweets on the art or the post in the replies won it. Boozy ended up giving $5 to the winner and showed a couple of the runner-ups. And oh boy. With regards to that whole contest, what happened after that is Skittles, they fucked off. They've entirely fucked off from interacting with furries and they've moved on to whatever they're doing. So let's talk about this. Specifically, the whole concept of corporatization. That is a big word. Corporatization. I'd look it up, but that requires me to spell it out, and I don't want to type right now. The idea of corporatization, which you've clearly seen in the Skittles case, is where companies look to communities that don't have currently founded corporations, and they just look to pander the fuck out of them and try to get every little penny out of them, even if they have no interest in what the company is. And that's what Skittles is doing. They're trying to pander to furries so that furries will support and vouch for like Skittles being like a good brand or a good product. I really don't know, but companies will do this where they'll corporatize into areas that really don't even want their business. It's someone like door-to-door salesmen that are very, very not aggressive, but assertive. Like they won't let you fucking leave. Not that they're a good person, but they just won't let you leave until you buy something. And it's sort of the approach that Skittles is taking. They want to get as much marketing and as many people talking about what they are as possible. And it's not the first time where a company has done that to the furry fandom. And the big thing about this whole situation is that there's an easy solution to this whole thing to stop the corporatization of the furry fandom. And it's different from technological advancements in the furry fandom, making it easier. I had someone ask a question about that. There's a big difference. We're talking about companies trying to take advantage of a community that literally wants no part of that. There is an easy solution to this whole issue because companies do come and go and they do try to attempt this. The main problem solver, the biggest thing that is keeping furries from being corporatized, keeping companies from advertising in the furry fandom is the porn. It's the porn. See, for once, this whole thing in my tab has a purpose. The horny trash fire. The furry porn, the furry kinks and fetishes protect the furry fandom from corporatization. And I just, there's like some meme out there, I can't remember what it's called, where like there's the like, fuck, it's like 3 different situations of like, there's raining gunfire, flaming bullets and knives and grenades, and then there's a soldier protecting, like taking the shots and incoming, damage or whatever. I don't know. They're protecting like a sleeping child. And there have been memes over and over of this one art piece where like they replace it with like text of like what's what. I don't know what the name of the meme is, but it very much applies to this situation, and I think it was actually remade for it. Let me see if I can find it. I should have it somewhere in my notes. Okay, I should have it somewhere here. There it is. Okay, so it was actually in the whole reply that I found earlier. Okay, so we got this thing with the fucking point of furries don't want to be marketed to by major corporations. You scroll down and here you go. The silent protector. That's the name of the meme. So you have the soldier protecting the sleeping innocent child from all the missiles, the flames, the guns, the knives, and you replace the text as follows. The soldier in this case is the weird fetish stuff. The horseman absolutely railing the fuck out of that Skittles bag versus the incoming fire being the capitalist subversion and monetization of subculture. So any small community, anyone that's just kind of minding their own business, and as soon as they make it into the mainstream somewhat, you got companies all over them trying to figure out how to market to them, whether it's like the Walmart fursuit heads or Skittles Fursonas or anything. They don't really care about furries. They just want to market to this. The furry fandom, the sleeping child. What do you have protecting it? The horsemen with the absolute throbbing love for insert down here. That is the exact way that furries have been able to completely subvert, completely keep away, not completely, but try their best to keep away from corporations and companies from taking advantage of them. But when you have mega corporations like this, it's just fun to just whip out the furry porn and be like, hey, you want to market to this? And then I show them my life jacket pics. And you know what? That is just 10 out of 10. So, I think that's just sort of the point of this whole situation that happened on Twitter. It was short. It was very short and very, very simple. But you know what? It was very straightforward. It's just so fucking funny. So, in conclusion, Skittles fucked off. There was genuinely an art contest that was held, not what Skittles had planned. The complete opposite of what Skittles had planned. And everything was better in the world.